All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Location Weekly. This is episode number 706, and we're recording from Lisbon, Portugal. Together, I am with Carsten at the World Aviation Festival, and we're excited to be here. We've been here already now. This is day 2 of the festival, and there's a lot going on. And today we want to just highlight a few things on how we are seeing location and location data play out in the world of travel and tourism and aviation. So what do you think, Carsten?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we see here is the aviation, especially the airlines and the airports coming together and searching for new ideas, how they can use location services also, like indoor navigation, passenger experience, guidance. A lot of AI stuff is going on in the space. So we experienced the last 2 days how innovative the aviation industry is positioned themselves. It's very interesting to see a couple of cool startups out there. Also, we want to highlight from a LBMA perspective, and also it's great to connect with the local network here in Lisbon. And yeah, it's good to have you here in Europe.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so first thing I think we want to talk about is the field of indoor navigation, indoor location and positioning. There are a few companies that are involved in mapping and creating maps of airports and aiding in wayfinding and navigation within those properties, both from a passenger perspective as well as from sort of a B2B perspective, or inside the airport operations and things like that. One company in particular we came across in the startup area. It's called RouteMe. Interesting little startup. And so what they're doing is they're coming from the healthcare space. They built applications initially for helping people with accessibility issues and wheelchairs and these kinds of things be able to quickly alleviate any anxiety they have in finding how to get from point A to point B in the airport as a passenger. And so the way they do that is using pre-recorded video. So they record a video of the route that you would take to go from, let's say, where you are to the airport lounge or to the elevator or to things like that. And then they take these videos from the point of start where you're starting to navigate from, and then they overlay arrows and navigation and real-time language translation to basically give you voice directions, an arrow to follow to get from point A to point B. So I think it's very interesting, very light application, nothing serious in terms of technology build. So I kind of like it. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite good, easy way to do it, and I think I have to highlight that they translate this routing, let's call it like that, this pre-recorded routing into 24 languages, but by using AI to make it accessible for most of the passengers and users. So that's a cool way on this last layer of passenger experience. So finding the last mile, the last meters is always the biggest hustle in the journey, being at the right gate at the right time, for example, and people get under stress if they don't know how to handle it, and personal assistance for everyone would not work. So seeing that indoor navigation space has different layers. So first layer obviously is on top, so you have to have kind of map for where you are. And having this map, this allows you to integrate technology which can localize you in that map. So first you have an understanding of your building from the inside. So it's first layer. Second layer is needed technology to position yourself. Various technologies are around, so with beacons, Wi-Fi, magnetic field, ultrasonic beacons, we heard about that. It's more or less from the past. Guys, I'm working for a company called Aryve. We're doing this with VPS-based solutions camera, but I want to dig into that because you have this layer of technology, and after the layer of technology you have your different verticals and use cases you can work with in that space. It can be the passenger, but it can also be the employer, the new worker, maintenance crews, security crews. They all have different purposes why they have to find something, but then it comes to the point, what do we find? So we need this point of interest and this central map of point of interest interest management system integrated in this whole picture. So having the layer of the map, technology, then all the point of interest, and then going one level down, what is the use case? And RouteMe is a perfect example for the use case at this particular point of interest, like, okay, the check-in gate, the check-in counter, how I can come from the counter to the gate, where I have to go, especially if I have special needs, like I need a wheelchair, something like that. So that's brilliant. So it's not either the one is the right you have to choose. You have to think about the whole ecosystem, about indoor navigation and what you need for that. So did I forget something?
No, I think that's exactly it. And obviously, like a lot of the airlines we've talked with too, we've kind of explored the idea of disruption scenarios where you are, your flight's been delayed, you have a layover for 2-3 hours. What are you going to do to keep your passengers occupied? Maybe they're traveling with kids and families, and have a lot of things to take care of. And so also creating experiences layered on top of the map, layered on top of the navigation that can help entertain and occupy time, I think is another thing we're seeing, which I guess brings us to our second topic.
Yeah, well, jump into revenue first. So all those stakeholders, either it's the airport operator, the owner of the airport, the airline itself, but also the companies who work at the airport as a retail facility or whatever they want to provide, they have customers and they want to have a higher return on invest. And this is by adding services to this existing customer journey. And airports are very good in monetize the passengers by retail facilities and all of this, because people get more and more used to the concept of, okay, I get stuck here, I get the gate information in the last minute because I'm supposed to stay as long as possible in the retail facility. They not want to use it any longer in the way it was in the past, because 10 years ago it was new, so having a shopping center at the airport, so transforming from a transportation hub into an experience, and this is what we see.
I mean, we all know, for those of us who travel, how much time people spend at Changi in Singapore, and the experiences that they've created with gardens and things to see and things to do, not just shopping, is a big part of it. So.
And seeing now more and more people on the planet, even if they can feel it in Europe, are traveling by plane. So the number is increasing. More and more people will have access to flights and travel. So that means we will have more bigger hubs and less regional airports. So also for saving polar bears is maybe a good idea. But the point is, these bigger airports get overwhelmed for all these experiences, and if you don't know what to do, so guidance through this, and you mentioned it before, so guidance into experiences, people are willing to pay for that. It's part of their travel journey, holiday experience, what we call it. So Pocket is a bit looser than normal, so it's also generating revenue, even if it's not retail revenue.
I totally agree with that. So let's jump to the second topic now. Like, I think another big theme we're seeing here is around personalization of engagement with the passengers, using data to drive these kind of personalized experiences. I think from an airline point of view, there's lots of things around. They all have loyalty programs. They all see these miles, these sitting on their books as a liability. They want to try to drive ways to have people use these and consume them as fast as possible. So tying into these kinds of disruptions and other things, creating personalized experiences, ways to use that. But also then, like, how do you personalize information about your trip, where you're going, and using data to do that in much the same way retailers and restaurant chains and these guys have been doing this for a long time. Now we're seeing it, at scale, I think, in the travel sector. What do you think?
Absolutely. When it comes to data, there's crucial data around. So one startup is creating a pass for your pet. So it's a hustle and a bustle if you travel with your dog, pet in cabin. So all the airlines have different requirements. You have to fill out forms, the vaccination status you have to report. This is not centralized. It's a total mess if you travel with your pet. So this startup came up with the idea, have a digital wallet, a digital identity for your pass and for your pet. And this allows you to check into the airline and fulfill all the steps you're required to do. do for this. It's about data, but it's data at this specific airport, because what the lady told me, there are airports where dogs are allowed on leash outside of the box, and there are other airports where it's just forbidden to do. So how should you know that? And this is very location data at its best for the passenger, because it gives a real value if you know what to do.
Yeah, and also storing all that data in the kind of wallet that like they present it for the pet in one place. I mean, it was very much, as I was watching her demo that to you, I was thinking, oh, this is just like my coronavirus passport with my vaccination status, and this is, oh, my dog has had this vaccination, my dog has had this, it's very similar, and I think it's a problem. I mean, you traveled here with your dog, so
absolutely. So it was a hassle, and we had to fill out forms manually. That was kind of a thing.
In the old school way.
It is indeed. So, heading up to the next story?
Yeah, so let's talk more about data, I think, and experiences, and what we can create there and what we're seeing some of the airlines do now. I think one thing for me, one highlight was yesterday I had a long conversation with a company called Airhelp. Super interesting. So, for those of us who travel a lot, you and I both travel quite a bit, you more than me, but more and more now there's some sort of disruption, some sort of delay, some sort of issue with the plane, some sort of something, especially on certain airlines. We won't name the airlines.
Our favorite airline out of Canada.
But anyhow, being most of the jurisdictions now have some sort of rules in place, that compensation is required, after a certain amount of delay or disruption or these kinds of things. But it's a hassle, it's a process for the passenger to have to go through that and fill out all the paperwork again and decide whether you're eligible or not eligible. And so I saw several companies at the show that are creating very simple ways where within minutes they can say, okay, which flight were you on? They know what happened to the flight. They're connected to the airline data systems, and they can come back right away and say, yeah, you're eligible for compensation. In fact, in some cases, they're doing the insurance, they're doing the payments, they're taking a percentage of the fee that you get out of that. So I think that's really interesting. For me, it's about how you're creating more positive experiences for the passenger in a time where they're having a negative experience.
I think it goes in both directions. So what we can see in the industry is a centralization of this kind of how we handle those cases. First is from the passenger point of view, so Airhelp is a good example for that, but also for the airline itself. So managing those kind of cases is not their core business. It's not what the airline is real good in. I'm not saying they cannot do it, but this is not the core business. They operate flights, they have a soft and a hard product, and on top of that they have this kind of how to handle these cases, and having rules and regulations around the globe, they're very different, and also the law behind that, it's different. So you need specialists to do that. So it's also something we saw, and it's a location-based topic because this data is in each region different, and you have to bring it, in that case, specific, as we always say in the location-based marketing, is say right information at the right place through the right medium. Yes, as always. And this is what we have here as a core.
Yeah, and then the other thing we see a lot is 3 or 4 companies I'm seeing doing eSIM technology.
Thanks for yesterday night, by the way.
Yes. We were at a nice event last night hosted by one of them. I think it's this is also a location-based thing because you're in a country, you don't have data, you need an eSIM that's tied to the local networks as a virtual network operator. So I think there's things about, again, to me it's about how are you using data to create experiences at a personal level that are engaging with the passenger and making their life easier at the end of the day, always. Right?
Absolutely. So just adding here, so when it comes to eSIM and connectivity around the globe, so things it's also both directions. One is the passenger side, the other one is the airline, the operator side. So you have your crew system. they should work around the globe, even if the crew is in the hotel somewhere in a random place where internet is restricted. You need kind of access to this. So this we see more and more that this enterprise connections are also were taking over by this SIM card, eSIM card operators, and they're providing connectivity. It's not just like, okay, you have a card and then you have internet, so they give out a whole connectivity system to global operators. So with all the restrictions we're sometimes facing out there. Yeah.
And I think the other thing that I'm seeing from a couple companies is some of the airlines now are starting to open their data, like in an open source way, to allow developers to build things on top of it, because they don't want to do all the work themselves. Much like we see a lot of municipal government cities, with open data and people building applications on top of that for transit systems and different kinds of things. I think we're starting to see some of that now, because it used to be very closed. Every airline's holding their own data, their own loyalty, their own this, their own that, much like the retailers, same kind of thing. Nobody wants to share any data. But I think it's starting to open up a little bit now, where people are like, let's embrace startup culture a little bit. Let's allow people to build things on top of the data we have, make the data accessible, and then we can partner from that. We can generate revenue from that, and create new things faster and cheaper, and ultimately generating more revenue for the operations.
Absolutely nothing to add here. So perfect to be in the vertical of aviation. So I love to work in this vertical, by the way, but because it brings together what the LBMA is about. So it's global, it's technology, it is on top of most of the developments. It's not behind mostly. And it's a global scene. They know each other.
Yes.
So we're part of it. We're very happy. So if you are from the airline industry, we invite you to come to the LBMA and share your thoughts, your ideas, and also maybe the blind spots we're missing in the industry where we can help as an industry association. That's it. And so having travel as one of our panel topics and topics for the Momentum Summit upcoming in just, was that 28 days, something?
Like a month now.
It's a month.
So please join us. If you haven't already got your ticket yet, we'd love to see you in Toronto, November 10th, 11th at the LBMA's 15-year anniversary Momentum Summit. Again, November 10th and 11th, just go to momentumsummit.ca. You can learn all about it there. There's still opportunities to get involved as a sponsor, speaker, attendee. So we would love to see you there. It's going to be a great celebration covering many industries: retail, tourism, travel, aviation, restaurants, out of home, sports, and everything in between. So location's always central to all of that. We're always excited about it, but we thank you as always for your time. You've been listening and watching episode number 726 of Location Weekly, and we'll be back with another episode very soon. Thank you. Bye.